Ancient Rome is known for its cultural, linguistic, and military achievements, but the most civilized empire of its time also had gladiator warriors that were fierce and fearless. These gladiators were brave and had incredible martial skills and physical strength and endurance. During their time, they were celebrated like rock stars. So, what happened to the most powerful gladiators in history? In this video, we are going to look into the lives and fate of the most astonishing gladiators of ancient Rome. Please consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy this type of video. And without much ado, let's get into it. Number 6. Spiculus. There is hardly anyone who hasn't heard about the notorious Roman Emperor Nero. Ever wonder who was his favorite gladiator? Well, it was Spiculus, one of the most popular stars of the gladiatorial world, who lived in the 1st century AD. Fighting from Nero's stable, he won many battles against opponents who were far more powerful and skilled. A graffiti on a gate in Pompeii illustrated his victory against Attilius, a veteran with 16 victories. Nero, who wasn't exactly known for compassion, simply doted on Spiculus. He lavished him with luxury mansions, slaves, and other riches. This made Spiculus one of the highest-earning gladiators in the history of Rome. But the same fame eventually led to his destruction. Legend has it that when Nero was overthrown in the revolt of 68 CE, he fled Rome and wanted to die a least painful death by a quick blow from Spiculus. But his messengers couldn't find his favorite gladiator in time, and as a result, Nero had to commit suicide before being torn to pieces by a bloodthirsty crowd. The new regime then went for Nero's favorite warrior. The furious crowd got hold of Spiculus and ended his life under the statue of Nero. Number 5. Marcus Attilius. Most gladiators were past slaves, but Marcus Attilius was an exception. From the historical material available, it seems that he was an ex-soldier who fell upon hard times. To pay his hefty debt, the freeborn Roman took up a gladiatorial career. But even though his desperation pushed him into the arena, he excelled in his new career within no time. Graffiti scenes outside the Nucerian Gate at Pompeii depict him with a long shield, a gladius, and short shin plates, which indicates that he fought in Murmillo style. He debuted in the arena in the Nola Games as a young novice, where he was put against a veteran gladiator, Hilarius. Marcus was tagged as a tiro, or beginner, while Hilarius, a slave, had won 12 of the 14 fights he had fought in his career. In a thrilling match, underdog Marcus defeated the seasoned warrior and became an instant crowd favorite. There was no looking back from there. In his next fight, he beat Rasius Felix, another fighter who was on a winning streak with 12 straight victories. Number 4. Verus and Priscus. The 2003 BBC docudrama Colosseum, a gladiator story, portrays Verus as a slave who was captured in the Balkans. He decided to put his life on the block by becoming a gladiator in order to escape a life in a rock quarry. Though it is difficult to say how much liberty the drama has taken with historical facts, what is sure is that Verus was a prominent gladiator during the reign of Emperor Vespasian, the founder of the Flavian dynasty. The emperor's reign was short-lived, but Verus's dominance in the arena continued and reached a glorious high point during the reign of the next emperor, Titus. This brings us to another gladiator, Priscus, whose story has to be told along with Verus. He was also presumably a slave of Celtic origin and was popular during the reign of Emperor Titus. Now, the construction of the Colosseum, one of the 7 wonders of the modern world, was started by Vespasian and completed by his son Titus. With a capacity of 80,000 spectators, it was the largest amphitheater ever built and was known as the Flavian Amphitheater. It was inaugurated in 1880, and for the opening day games, Titus sponsored the contest between the 2 most famous gladiators, Verus and Priscus. It was a nail-biting contest as expected. The Titans fought for hours without conceding an inch. Eventually, they had to submit to each other by putting down their swords. The crowd raised in thunderous applause, while the emperor was so delighted that he granted freedom to both warriors. He awarded them the wooden sword Rudis, which stood for freedom. The unique fight was documented in a laudatory poem by the famous poet of the time, Martial. Number 3. Carpothermus. Carpothermus is a name of Greek origin that means fruit bearer, But Carpothermus the gladiator was anything but fruity. He was a ferocious bestiary. The term stood for warriors who fought with predatory wild beasts instead of other gladiators. Apart from having a wild animal as an opponent, with its razor-sharp teeth and nails, brute power, and a killer instinct, what was different in such fights? Well, most gladiators already died younger than the average population, and bestiaries had a much shorter life expectancy by gladiatorial norms. Carpothermus was naturally gifted when it came to reading the moves of the wild animals that were let loose on him. He would routinely take on beasts like bears, rhinos, leopards, and even lions in the arena. And remember the opening games of Flavian Amphitheater we mentioned a while back? Carpothermus' spectacular show was up there along with the legendary Verus versus Priscus match. He took on leopards, bears, and lions in a single battle and clobbered them all. In another battle, he took on a ferocious rhino and killed it with a single spear. He reached the human limits of performance when he killed 20 wild animals in a single battle. It remained the crowd's favorite for years. Number 2. Rixus. Rixus is the most thrilling story among the gladiators of ancient Rome. No wonder it has been the subject of several Hollywood movies like Spartacus. Rixus was born in Gaul and captured by the Romans, post which he started getting trained as a gladiator in a famous school. He became a prominent gladiator who defeated some really powerful opponents in the area. The dramatic turn in the story came in 73 BC, when a revolt broke out at the gladiator school. Rixus hated the school and its owner so much that he was more than eager to spearhead the revolt. He, along with 70 gladiators, was successful in escaping the school. A small group of soldiers was sent after them, but Rixus and his companions drubbed them. They then camped on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius and scored many victories against the Roman legions. Rixus was a prominent military leader in the Third Servile War between the Roman Republic and rebel slaves. The militia kept inflicting losses to the empire for a significant time, until some strategic differences started arising within their ranks. Rixus wanted to teach a lesson to the upper-class Roman society and strike fear in their hearts with the help of his warrior companions, but other leaders like Spartacus didn't agree with him. Rixus was forced to quit along with his supporters. The breakaway group was planning to raid southern Italy, but this is when Rixus met his fate. The Roman armies that were long on his tail finally succeeded in nailing him. Rixus and his men put in a brave fight, but couldn't stand the might of the massive forces. Rixus was killed. His original rebel group was so moved by his demise that it conducted a mock gladiatorial contest in his armor. Captured Roman soldiers were made to fight to the death. Legend has it that about 400 Roman soldiers were sacrificed in the process of giving tribute to the great warrior. Number 1. Commodus. This name instantly rings a bell, right? Yes, he is the heinous emperor from the Oscar-winning film Gladiator. Commodus served along with his father Marcus Aurelius till the latter's death in 180 AD, post which he became the emperor. With a huge ego, the young brother wasn't exactly known for compassion. Now, you might be wondering why an emperor is on the list of gladiators. Well, Commodus found a way to massage his ego with one kink, which was acting like a gladiator. He secretly desired the glamour and popularity that the macho gladiators commanded during their adrenaline battles, but at the same time, he didn't want to appear less dignified than his post. The Roman upper classes, though they enjoyed the fight-to-the-death matches, would usually look down upon gladiatorial careers, maybe because most gladiators were slaves. So Commodus decided to act out his fantasies by making private arenas in his palace. He would secretly call gladiators to his palace and indulge in unfair fights with them, where the maniac would win by hook or crook. But this stopped quenching his power thirst after some time, and he came out in the open to organize public fights with gladiators. Though these weren't any fairer than his private fights, as his opponents were armed with wooden swords. Sometimes he would kill injured animals to appear like a skilled bestiary. Expectedly, Commodus's dictatorial reign marked the end of a golden period of peace in the history of the Roman Empire, known as the Pax Romana. And like many despots, he met a violent end in 192 AD when he was assassinated by a wrestler in the bath. And if you enjoyed this video, we have another like it of the most incredible recent discoveries of the Roman Empire. Discoveries that reveal new understandings of the Roman culture.